As myself and Naveen were moving through the Himalayas, we became the witness of endless destruction of planet and the people. As a geoscientist, it is much easier to write a paper than to help the people of the hill standing near the brink of destruction. In the face of infinite greed and collusions of politicians, contractors, and real estate sharks, scientists are helpless and probably are mute spectators.
There is a forecast of westerly disturbance which we are already experiencing, and the view you are seeing is a Lakshmi Jula area of the Rishikesh. We are heading towards Gopeshwar.
Even this little amount of winter rainfall, continuously producing rubbles and boulders at every turn, no wonder this will get exacerbated during the monsoon. You can see a hotel built exactly on the riverbed. I am perplexed because I do not know who gives the permission and approval for such construction in the mountains. This is River Ganga. It's a beautiful, pristine river flowing through the mountains. You can see the color is so green, as it happens when you have a lot of glacial meltwater components. So this is basically a kind of shell limestone alternation sequence. इसके अंदर there are a lot of gypsums actually, and these limestone layers are very dangerous because they produce caverns, and that is very dangerous for the slopes, because the caverns are collapsible and therefore it creates a slope failure very easily.
Never this area witnessed any landslide,
Right.
in my memory.
Right.
Because I studied in Srinagar in 1980. Never happened. But once the road widening work started, you see the conditions there.
Yes.
Now these are the critical zones. As you rightly said, there are caverns over here. We just ignored those details.
Right.
Also, there are 3 to 4 set of fractures. I will not call it a joint.
Right.
Because it's a limestone. And then there is a very good paper by Siddiqui and others from IIT Roorkee. They meticulously mapped it and demonstrated that what is the degree of susceptibility at different locations.
Right.
Everything was ignored and they went for uniform widening. This is what our argument in the committee, that please do not go for uniform cutting of the road. Follow the dictates of the terrain and terrain boundary condition. That is ignored. Now we are standing at Totaghati. Any layman can see, if they see that particular mountain,
Right.
huge fracture is there.
Right.
You can see the fracture?
Right.
Whole thing is going to collapse. When? We do not know, because the vibration is continuously going on. And it was also decided that never use any blast. And we have got the picture when they use the blasting in this area.
Right.
And that is the reason it's the area of perpetual sorrow, particularly during the monsoon.
Yes.
At times, months together, the road remained blocked.
No one knows when this hill will fall on this road. They are trying to bolt it,
These are the cabins.
but you can see there are caverns on either side. I am now standing exactly at the junction between dolomitic limestone at the left, from where the clouds are coming, as you can see in the distance. They are all dolomitic limestone, where, as I said, that there are huge number of caverns causing the collapse of many places. And in the right hand side we have what you call the blocky quartzites, which are reasonably stronger material, but even then, as you can see, they have basically put nets and trying to stabilize the slope. Nevertheless, they are unable to control it in a very significant manner. And these two rock types, the junction along which these rock types are juxtaposed on each other, is called Saknidhar thrust, and again is a weak zone. And this is a very, very critical place as far as the the Char Dham roadway construction is concerned. You can see that they are trying to make a concrete apron along the slopes. I think they have done rock bolting, right?
Yes.
Futile attempt of mankind to contain the mountains. what will you do with these slopes? Make any number of rock bolting, make any number of walls, you cannot contain the mountains. As they say that you need not make the planet habitable. If the planet find you disturbing, it will kick you out of the system. And that is what the mountain is doing today. There is no respite from the rain. There is a heavy cloud. We are moving towards Rudraprayag. We are exactly at Rudraprayag, at the confluence of Alaknanda and Bhagirathi. You can see the colors of the two rivers are quite different.
So we know that there is a thing called epigenetic gorge, that is the gorge which is formed after the river occupied the coast, and the fossil valley. Now this is a very good example. On your right side is Alaknanda,
Yes.
and on your left side is your Bhagirathi.
Yes.
Now look at the situation is very different now, because Bhagirathi used to have the all blue water,
Yes.
and the Alaknanda used to have muddy water.
Right.
But the situation it took that in the Alaknanda, Bhagirathi, downstream of the dam of Tehri, there must have been some landslide activity which are contributing to this fine suspended silt. Now, important thing is that Alaknanda once upon a time used to flow on this kind of cavity which you see there is a small bridge also. This was the course of the Alaknanda.
Right.
Now the Alaknanda shifted to that particular side.
Right.
Now it is not a tectonic shift. Had it been a tectonic shift, the ledge on which you can see a small ledge that should have been gone away.
Right.
So sorry, yes, gone away. So the migration to the new coast probably happened because this coast got clogged. And this is a very classical example in the Himalaya where you get the fossil valley and the associated gorges.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah. I think because of the Tehri Dam, the silts are being blocked upstream, and that is why the color variations, right?
Right, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So this is Rudraprayag, and you have got a oldest temple over there.
Right.
Rudraprayag. This temple was established by the Secretary, I think, in 9th century.
9th century AD.
This
yeah.
is the place from where the Ganga originates.
Right.
The name Ganga comes from this location,
Right.
not from the Bhagirathi.
Right. So we have reached Srinagar. Here there is a Central University of Srinagar where there is a geology department. We will not stay here, but we will bypass the Srinagar town and then move towards Rudraprayag.
In front of you was triggered during the early 60s, and since then the landslide remain active. Lot of measures were undertaken by various organizations to prevent it participate. Not only that, the government of India pumped lot of money for research purpose so that some viable solutions should be evolved, but nothing of that sort happened. As a consequence, when the Char Dham project became a reality in 2018 or so, they decided to bypass it. And the bypass road you can see is dug through the fluvial gravel and proximal to the river. When I asked the engineers why you have dug it parallel to the river, they said this is an alignment given by the consultant. Now, they agreed to me that instead of parallel to the river, they should have gone behind the village and taken parallel to it. But we said it's not. Now the problem is, I am not really sure how long this road will subside, because the river water fluctuates significantly as a function of seasonality. So, and because of the flow erosion, whatever gabion structures or the retaining wall you make over there, they may not sustain. My question is that in the name of research on the landslide in the Himalaya, lot of money is being pumped. I am told recently a big project is funded by the Britain government to the government of India. Guys are again going to move in the Himalaya. They will write some research papers, some proposals, but the reality on the ground will remain unchecked. And this is the burning and naked example that all the research activities from 60s onwards till 2020 or so could not prevent this landslide, which is the Kalyasar landslide. So therefore, we need to really revisit our approach towards taming the Himalayan slopes using more viable approach.
We are now at Rudraprayag, where Mandakini and Alaknanda meets. The left one is Mandakini and the right one is the Alaknanda. As you can see here also, there is some distinct color variations between the two, and you can see the town of Rudraprayag at a distance. It is at this place Jim Corbett used to stay in a village hut where he wrote his famous novel Man-Eater of Rudraprayag. This is a tunnel to bypass Rudraprayag. Yeah. We have now reached a place called Agastya Muni. As mythology goes, Agastya Muni meditated here. So we are on the bank of the river Mandakini. The road was completely washed out during the Kedarnath incidents of 2013. All these houses which you see on the bank of Mandakini, they were all washed out during these incidents. Inside the Kedarnath temple, huge number of people died standing inside the temple. It was a catastrophic cloudburst, lake burst, and the accelerated melting of the snow because of the rainfall. So we have now come to our Uttarkashi resort. This is Sail Riverview Resort. The swans probably are welcoming us. This is our first night stay at Sail Riverview Resort, just on the bank of River Mandakini. Nobody is here. The caretaker opened the room and then he disappeared. The serenity of the Mandakini Valley is truly breathtaking. Good morning. We are going towards the Okhimath today. The weather has cleared up considerably, although there are a lot of valley clouds. As we are moving towards the Okhimath, at the distance, the Kedar Dome is visible. The morning sun on Kedar Dome. All entertainment for tourists are, however, there at every corner. We are now approaching the higher Himalayan crystallines, almost nearing the MCT.
Crossing MCT now.
Yeah, we are now crossing the MCT, which is the major transboundary faults of the Himalayas, formed around 23 million years back. This barrage which you are seeing at a distance is constructed right on the MCT. This is an Larsen and Toubro project. If the MCT is ever activated, one can imagine what kind of devastation this barrage may cause. So that valley at a distance, as you can see, the MCT is running along that. You can say that the bus which is going almost parallel to the MCT, and this is the barrage project.
This place is semi and the road goes to Okhimath. Okhimath is there. Sorry,
Uttarkashi, yeah.
On way to Kedarnath.
Okay. So this is very, very funny that such a barrage has been built along the MCT, which is a weaker zone.
And this village called Semi village
Yes.
is subsiding. If you go there, the
Yes.
road is differentially subsided.
Okay.
In order to protect the subsidence, now what they are doing, the river training measures.
Yeah.
They are trying to make a wall there. This is the wall they are making so that the toe erosion is prevented and slope does not creep further.
Right.
Now the subsidence of this village was prior to the construction of the barrage.
Right.
Once the barrage was proposed under the proposed in 2013, when the water level increased,
Yes.
the barrage was half constructed.
Yes.
And half constructed barrage acted as a barrier,
Yes.
which led to the rising of the river bed to appreciable level, probably
Yes.
up to this building.
Right.
When the water level went up, and the water level went up, it percolated into the column. You see the scarp there?
Yes.
From the scarp, this is the old landslide deposit.
Oh.
The water went inside. Now
Okay.
when the water released, the water started oozing out. When the water started oozing out from the slope, it further activated the entire area. So there was a threat to this particular village called Semi that this should be rehabilitated. But the villager refused. They said that no, we are on the Yatra lane and we will not go away. Now you have not gone there, but if you go there, the entire slope is creeping. So it was creeping naturally in the past. Now it has been aggravated by this particular
Barrage.
and now they are in order to prevent it, now they are putting up this particular wall.
My God.
That is the kind of development studies we have.
A weak landslide material was existing on which the village was established, and then the whole barrage project has put these villagers into a very, very vulnerable situation. So this is the story of the human intervention in the Himalayas. You know that every place we are tinkering with the mountain. At a distance you can see the Uttarkashi. I am standing here at Okhimath on way to Chopta Road. Down below you can see the barrage which has been built over the river Mandakini. Let me try to have a closer view of the barrage. Now very interestingly, this barrage when it was built, already there was subsidence, as I showed you earlier, of the Semi village which is found at a distance. Now the road construction people, they wanted to make an alternative road, as you can see at a distance, which goes cutting through the mountains, and this alternative route was being built neglecting the expert comments and expert reports of the geologists and the scientists and the engineers, and they started cutting the mountain. It was continuing for about 2 years, and now as you can see here, the whole surface has collapsed, very steep scarp, and the road making has been abandoned. Now this is the kind of tinkering which is going on in the Himalayas. In spite of the warning by the experts, they carried on making these kind of roadways through the Himalayas along the MCT, where the rocks are extremely fragile because of this large scale fault and shearing. The rocks are mostly myelinitized, therefore making road itself is a very hazardous proposition. But in spite of that, they didn't listen and they continued their road making through this, and eventually they had to abandon the whole project. You not only throw the money through the river Mandakini or the Ganges by these ways, but you make the whole ecosystem of the people of the forest cutting the trees into a very, very vulnerable situation. So we are now closer to Chopta. As you can see that roadside snows have started. Last 2-3 days it heavily snowed at Chopta. We are almost at the altitude of 2500 meter. Look at the condition on the Chopta road. It's a terrible traffic jam. I don't know how many vehicles are stranded, maybe more than few hundreds. And this is what they are doing with the Himalayas. The snow-clad mountains are both serene and majestic, but one must realize that mountain can also lose the patience, and when it loses, nothing can save the humanity.